Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode, get together. I wouldn't even say episode. Let's say get together, because that's what we do here on these live streams of consciousness that I enjoy so much almost each and every day. Just to stay off the bat, I did miss yesterday, and I apologize for that. It was, but to be honest, it was one of those days of feeling kind of lethargic and just off, and I sat down over here and I thought about doing it, and I didn't feel that I had my best to offer to you, the wonderful people of the world. I was a little bit of a curmudgeon yesterday, and I don't want to come on and be a curmudgeon and start crying and complaining and saying what's wrong and making a bunch. I know, everybody calm down. I get you. I know, believe me, stop it. Get out of here. No, thank you very much. Anyway, hello and welcome. If you haven't been here before, my name is Pete Palma, and this is Operation Status Quo, where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go, right? Because we have to find our way in this world, each and every one of us as individuals. I say this all the time, that we are divine expressions of oneness, each and every one of us, just very special, like a snowflake, right? There's no two alike, and it's important for us to always keep that in mind and not let the outside circumstances bring us down too much, and remember that we have the power within ourselves to create the abundant, beautiful life that we'd like to create. I mean, it is sometimes a little bit scary and overwhelming. Don't let me sugarcoat it, too much. I'm not out in left field so far that I'm not aware that there's struggles in everyday life, and I understand some people have different circumstances that are, I don't want to say worse or better. It's just quote unquote, really just depends. Everything is relative to each individual and the purpose of their situation, the purpose of their growth as a soul. I try to look at everything, even the stuff that's negative in our lives, try to look at everything as a gift, really, because, it really is, right? This life itself is a gift. Just to be an embodied, humanoid, as it were, is a gift in itself. And yeah, we have our struggles, and we're always trying to find our way, but the universe has your back, right? And basically, if the more that you can, kind of shut things off on the outside and go back to the inside, it makes things a lot easier to flow with whatever your purpose may be. And I try just to go back to say about people who have difficult situations or circumstances in their life, whatever they may be, we've all gone through crap, right? So it is what it is. But if we can look at those situations of how they help us to grow and learn, it's almost like, when you have a kid that, wants to go swimming, but they're a little bit afraid. So, sometimes you give them a little shove into the pool, but as a good parent, make sure you're watching so your kid doesn't drown. But, sometimes you got to push the kid in the pool a little bit and, encourage them to, start swimming. So I think that's what the universe does to us, right? Because otherwise, if you think about it, how complacent we would be, how complacent we have been, quite honestly. That's why our society's in the state that it's in, because first and foremost, we're not, guided and educated in a way to even think this way, to look at experiences and, learn how to utilize them as gifts and create better lives for ourselves. And, really, when the bad things happen in your life, it's really just a way of cleaning out, old emotions or old behavior patterns, whatever traumas that are subconscious, in each and every one of our own psyches, these things happen because the universe is pushing us in the pool, right? And just trying to say, hey, listen, we know you can do better and you have so much more to give. So let's try to encourage you, a little bit to do so. I had a friend of mine. It's funny. One of the things, I don't know, how my random thoughts pop into my head, but, I had a friend of mine that was always big with the ladies, a lot of ladies. And it was one lady after the next, and it was always this story of love and then total despair, and love and total despair. And, and I just kind of always got a kick out of it because I thought, well, you just keep repeating the same pattern over and over again, right? It's like you don't give yourself time to, reflect and understand what the situation is telling you beyond the fact that you thought you were in love with this individual, that, it's really not the purpose, right? When people come together, and I've spoken on this multiple times, especially in those type of relationships, your close relationships, your family, your intimate relationships. These are the people that are going to maybe spark you the most sometimes, and trigger some of those. I mean, especially the intimate relationships, right? Because those are always trying to repair what's been broken through your family structure, right? So like you might have got the crap beat out of you as a kid, growing up, and so you're used to just accepting and being put down or something like that, right? And you wind up in a relationship where someone's domineering over you, and it's like really it's the universe pushing you in the pool, encouraging you to be to say, okay, listen, I realize that I have this pattern of behavior. When I was young, I was used to being pushed around and always had to be quiet. So now I let that happen with other relationships in my life as I've gotten older. And, I need to take my power back and not line up with that energy. When you start to overcome that type of stuff and realize that stuff, then like new people come into your life that resonate in the different frequency and vibration that you are raising yourself to. So that's what it's all about. But anyway, that's just my little initial aside, as I always go down my tangents as my brain kind of wanders through the muck here, and that's what I do. My brain is always wandering through the muck and seeing what kind of ideas and maybe, I don't want to say helpful, inspirational. I don't know. Like, I'm a normal guy, right? I'm just a guy, who likes to come on YouTube and chat with the people because I love the people out there, and you are the people, ironically enough, and I'm the people too, and we're all people. And I just think it's important to keep a space and create a space for people to, feel, to realize. I like to say that, like, because I don't think you've run into a lot of people in your everyday life, right, that really want to encourage you. And I was just having this conversation, again, I always tell my pool stories. I was at my pool today going for a swim, and I was speaking with one of the guys that I see regularly over there. And, he was just talking about, that I was a nice guy or whatever, easy to talk to and that type of thing. It was like clicking in my head, because I talk a lot of times too of when I try to say hello to people, or how sometimes they are tentative and uptight, because everybody's kind of got their guard up and they're suspicious and such. And I told him, I said, it's really funny to me because, like, when I meet people, I have no ulterior motives for anything. I'm genuinely interested in my fellow human being, to say hello and to understand, their perspective on life and just have conversation. Of course, you run into a few jerkos every once in a while, and you got to just like say, I don't want to talk to you. There's nothing funny about that, believe me. Nothing funny about that. But it does happen at times. Hey-o. Sometimes, especially back in the day. All right. Are we done with that? Especially back in the day, when I would go to the bar, go to the bars more and stuff. I'd sit at the bar, and I just start talking to who's ever around. And every once in a while, you make that mistake where you're talking and you realize, oh crap, I just got myself into a conversation I can't get out of, and this person is like way off my page, and now I'm forced to sit here and listen so I don't seem like a total jerk because I initiated and said hello. How can I try to ingratiate and be your friend, and now I got to turn my back on you? But I mean, it happens. Sometimes you got to roll the dice, and it's okay if that happens. When it happens, I just realize, well, I didn't do so well on that one, but I'm still open to give everybody a chance, and it is what it is. Not everyone's going to resonate with everyone, so I appreciate that you resonate with me and that you're here on Operation Status Quo to spend time here with me on this live stream of consciousness as we delve into different topics and ideas and try to mitigate our way through this ever-changing, expanding, crazy world, right? That's what's going on right now. So today is the 27th of July in the good year 2023. Hello and welcome once again. Glad you're here. And today's program is entitled Fearing Freedom. Yes, indeed, because I do feel it's interesting to me because as I was growing up all the time, I could never understand why people, I still don't understand why people just take it and go with what the world says things are, right? And why not break free? Why not say, no, we're just not doing it. We're not participating in your system. We're not paying taxes, or we're not, whatever, we're not doing this sitting in a cubicle all day long with a job that doesn't mean anything. Even I speak on the job that I have now, my contract specialist job, and it's a horrible job. I'm fortunate to have a job and all that. I mean, I always say this though. I'm just, I take it one pay period at a time, because you just never know when I might just decide to pull the plug. But that's my fear too, in part. Like in my mind, I've already quit 600 times, but it's hard sometimes to actually, give it up completely, and then try to dive into something else when you're not 100% sure how things are going to turn out. So that's part of like our fears, right? And we're raised and groomed really into this society that kind of teaches us the parameters of what our life should be, and we get used to the comforts that we have, right? And then if we want to break free of all that, because people always say, "Oh, if you don't like it, you should just go live in a cabin in the woods and do." It's always that kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't think. I don't think we have to, I don't think it has to be that dramatic. I don't think we have to give up our entire societal structure, just like just the oppressive part of it, really, right? I mean, why do we have to live just because you don't believe in the mainstream paradigm of shit, the petri dish of shit that they keep us in, just because you disagree with that, does that mean you have to be what, Ted Kaczynski? Wasn't it Ted Kaczynski, the Oklahoma bomber guy who had a little cabin out there in the woods? Life Below Zero. You ever see that show with the people living in Alaska and they live in some little hut, by themselves, chasing bears? I don't know. I'm just saying, I think there's a middle ground. If we as a people, decided we were going to take our power back, and not allow these oppressive structures and systems to rule, who we are and keep us these socioeconomic slaves like we have been for generations. Why can we not just create local communities that work together and, create the abundance that we need? We might not have, it might not be the same as far as maybe it's not Netflix, maybe you don't have Maybelline eyeliner or something. I don't know, right? But those are the type of things that I think that we've been, groomed and conditioned into, the products that we use, just what our day-to-day life, quote unquote, entails. That's become the norm because that is the social programming that's been done over the course of generations to keep people, well, I wouldn't say keep, but to create, a dumbed down, fearful society that is just clinging to the teat of the government, for survival. The government will take care of us. The government will take care of us. We should have less and less government, really, and more power for each individual to be who they are. Because again, it goes back to us being entities, divine expressions of oneness, and we all have a mission in a way, right? We all have a mission. We all have a sole purpose. And instead of society, building a structure that allows people to explore that, and think about how fruitful that would be for the entirety of all of us if everybody was allowed and given space to be their best selves, right? Because a lot of times people say, oh, if it wasn't for this or that, people would just be lazy and they wouldn't do anything, or because I always talk about, I don't believe in money and we shouldn't even really have money, and they go, oh, if it wasn't for money, people would just be lazy and they wouldn't do anything, they wouldn't contribute if society was that type of way. I disagree, because maybe there would be some, right? But I think that would be another form of conditioning, right? Basically, it's okay, everybody works together to grow the food. You want to lay on the couch all day and not help out, you don't get to eat. It could be pretty much as simple as that. So maybe somebody get up off the couch and help till the fields every once in a while. But I also feel that if we were taught from the beginning to be our best selves, to engage with our vibrance and our life purpose, I think people would be excited to explore that and see what they create, whatever it is for them, whether you're good with numbers, whether you're good with building something, whether you're good with music, whatever the case is, an individual would tap in and it wouldn't feel like work, right? It would feel it's like resonance. I'd be like, this is who I am and this is what I do, so Anyway, but that's how I feel like they've conditioned us away from that by keeping us distracted all the time with stuff that really is not important. I mean, especially 'cause I always go on about the video games and the social media and the poison foods, and just little by little by little by little, just taking little parts of our true essence away, so that they maintain the power. I mean, these people who are running the show, they know all this stuff, right? And they know how much power we as humanity has, and they don't want us to really tap into it, because then they don't have everything, which is really a crazy thing to me too, because I don't understand. Because if everybody was in that space of abundance, what would that's why I try to explore in my mind the idea of even wanting to have power over other people, right? Or to even, what is it? What is the purpose of that? If we're all expressing ourselves in full potential, like there is no lack, right? And everybody has everything in a sense. So it doesn't even make sense to me to try to, it's almost like the people who are in power, they're more fearful than we are in certain ways, right? Because they're fearful of us, and they try to keep the society suppressed so that they can maintain this control over, but over what? Like, I don't know. I'm asking you, as the audience out there, drop something in the comments. Let me know. I don't know. Like, what is the purpose of these people to even do that? Because if everyone's living from a space of truth and abundance, then, everybody's a winner. So, like, what's the purpose of even having power over someone else? I think when we live from a place of love, there's so much more that comes your way. So, I don't know. It's that's an interesting concept, but that goes into the whole thing too, with the aliens and the, multi-dimensional beings and such that are running this planet, on the energetic side. And, there's humans here that are doing work in a certain way purposely to keep society in a space where these, other entities have more control. Again, feeding off our fear, feeding off the energy of our fear. So they create a fear-based, world, so that basically they can feed energetically on our fear. Now, I know I went off. Now I really went down a little bit of a tangent, but let me get into, can I get into a little bit of what am I saying what I wanted to say? Fearing freedom. And why do people fear freedom? I don't know. Why does fear feel scary? I would say, please let me know what you think, and drop it in the comments and tell me why you think people would be afraid of freedom. But some of the ideas, freedom can be scary because you have to take responsibility for your life, because you have to create your own structure and decide how to allocate your time. And that boils down to trusting yourself at a very fundamental level. The trouble with freedom is that there is no longer an authority to defer to. So, isn't that kind of like an interesting concept in itself, though? And that, I think I've said this before. I think that's one of the reasons why people get so mad over like all the stuff like with conspiracy theories or something like that, because it puts people in a position where they have to take responsibility for themselves. And think about how much of our society, the way it's structured today, really kind of keeps us away from keeps us away from responsibility for ourselves, right? Everybody's a victim. They have to have a group for everything. There's always got to be, all these movements and everything, as opposed to just being who you are and taking responsibility for yourself and shutting out the outside shit and just really living. And then you wouldn't, feel that way. I would like to pose this kind of question too. I mean, how is it fearful? Like they say, it's to create your own structure and decide how to allocate your time. I guess it's like even like what I'm saying with my job. Like if I leave, now, okay, I have to decide I'm good at allocating my time. I mean, I really, if it wasn't for worrying about making money to, live in this goofy society that they have set up, I'm already out the door. I have no problem. I got my day's full all day long between going for walks and and going for my swims and doing the things I do. I have no problems with any of that. So I don't. People seem to be fearful of just having time to themselves to really connect with themselves. I know people too that are so distracted, they never even want to face themselves, right? People who are workaholics or, just they're constantly on the go 24/7. So they never really have to go inside and resonate with anything that's, going on within themselves to understand, to understand their own purpose, to even to acknowledge, am I free? Like, what is freedom, right? I mean, especially in today's world, it's hard to decipher because, they keep touting all this stuff, especially on the political side, threats to democracy, and we want to spread freedom. They always talk about freedom, but there's no freedom. Like, everything is suppression, and everything is like, if you don't, and especially on the mainstream side of things, like, like the news, for example, I'm just going to use like, Ukraine, for example, just because it's always like on the news and it's always slanted towards, this, obviously, Ukraine's under attack and Putin's evil and has to be helped. And if you kind of say it in a different way, then it's like all of a sudden you're like an outcast. Like, if you don't believe that that's really what's going on, like, and I don't understand why people believe the mainstream narrative of that situation anyway, when all the horrible business dealings that the U.S. government has, the illegal business dealings that the government has with other countries around the world. And I'm not going to try to get into all that way, but I mean, like, do we really think that, like, it's that simple? These are just good people. They were just minding their own business, and here comes evil Mr. Putin, and decides that he's going to kill civilians. Like, come on, guys. We got to just, and that's what the news does all the time. It's really kind of sick the way they do. Let's see. I wanted to see if I had another. Oh, I forgot. This computer is not. My other computer downstairs is a touch screen. So, let's see here. Here's another thought on freedom that I found that I thought was good. Freedom from fear means that no freedom from fear. Okay, fear, but we're fearing freedom. But if you want to be free of fear, then no one should be in fear of their government, its armed forces, police, who act undemocratically, or even their neighbors. It means you can go to bed at night and expect that your home will still be standing the following day. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of it too, right? When you look at, our government, as much as everybody says free, it's kind of like, really a police state, right? I mean, you don't really know what's going to happen. You see all the strife that goes on with the police out there. I'm not really. When I was younger, I couldn't stand the police. I don't like the police in the sense that their job is to enforce these illegal laws, right? But of course, it's nice to have police around. If somebody was breaking into your house or beating you up on the street, it'd be nice to have somebody come help you out, or maybe robbing your store. So I mean, obviously they have their purpose, but I don't blame them as individuals so much as it's just another product of the system, right? The training that they offer the officers, it's always about force, and I think we should think more in terms of power and our own power, as opposed to how we try to force things on other people, right? So I don't know. Basically, the thought today is just in general of like, freedom, and like what are we prepared to? What does it mean to you as an individual? And again, I'd love for you to drop some comments in and let me know, and we can discuss it further. But what does freedom mean to you? What are we willing to give up from the current structures that we're so used to enjoy and feel the true freedom that we could have? That really is our birthright in a sense, right? So. Yeah, and it's kind of it's an odd thing. Again, I said from the beginning, never did understand why people just do all this stuff. And that's why, like, I really don't. I just, like, again, that's why I call this Operation Status Quo. And that's why I say we learn to create our own flow of quo, because I've basically been doing that for my whole life, just kind of creating my own flow of quo. I see all this nonsense going on out there, even with my job that I was talking about. Like, I see these people, they're online all day, trying to prove something all day. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I know they're just trying to do their job, and, but they're so conditioned. I hear them talk sometimes, and they're all like, trying to be, fancy businessmen talk, and it's not even. There's nothing real about it, And it's just like, and I don't know. People are just dragged down into that path, and your whole day and life becomes consumed with trying to put on a show to fit in. Because you don't want to, be put out, basically, right? I have to live and I have to survive, but nobody's living true to themselves, and no one's really free. I know we sit here and you think you're free, and people say, oh yeah, you don't think you're free, go to another country. All right, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, how free are you? I mean, really, how free are you? So, and what does freedom mean to you, and what are you willing to sacrifice in your life from away from the mainstream for that freedom? I notice it in different social groups and things that I'm with. People, I guess in the quote unquote, I'm an oddball in certain ways. Most people are just into the brass tacks of things and getting down to business, crunching numbers and, talking, do. And, I'm kind of like, oh, that stuff's all kind of extra. I'm always like, how are you? Tell me about yourself. Do you have a family? So I was like, well, one guy, who's the one guy that was always working all the time? I was like, I don't understand. Oh yeah, the other job I had before I started this job, and he was like just all day long, ba 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 ba, and I was like, what's the matter with this guy? Why doesn't he go home and just have a little sex with his wife and enjoy his time? Come on, before you're getting older, before that thing stops working, go home. Spend some time with your wife. Enjoy it. You deserve it. We all deserve it. Hey-o. So anyway, that's what I have for you here today on Operation Status Quo. Fearing freedom. And if you do fear freedom, and maybe you don't even realize that you do, but I would just pose the question of what does freedom mean to you? What makes you think you're free now? And what would you do differently? Or what do you think? What makes you think that what's going on now is freedom, if it does? And if you're on the fence, like, what would you like to see to be free? Like, what does freedom mean to you, right? So, and I think that's a question for all of us. And I think as a society, humanity, I think we're growing into, a new way of being. It's growing pains that we're going through now. It's going to take time and everything. But I'm just all about being positive. I'm blessed in my life. I feel great about, I couldn't have done it on my own. Like, it's so obvious that the universe is like, guiding me and has my back. I try not to force things too much. Try not to, make judgments or decide, what Pete thinks is best, as much as, I have my thoughts sometimes and I always just try to say, okay, let me just put that in a space and, whatever happens, happens. Sometimes, it's funny, I'm not going to do too many examples, but like just to say in a simple way, sometimes something will be going on in my life that I'm trying to do or thinking about, and then it's not working out. And I say, you know what, F this. I'm not going to put that kind of energy into it, and I'm getting myself upset, and I just let it go. And then maybe a couple days goes by and something else, pops up. A good example, quite honestly, is my yoga teaching. When I got involved with teaching yoga, I was doing it regularly for a period of time, and then there was a couple incidences where a studio shut down or something happened here or there, and I thought I was going to have to stop teaching, and a few times I kind of wanted to stop teaching because I thought, I'm kind of done with this. And every time I've tried to step away from it, something's always brought me back. Like even where I teach now, when I first moved down to Florida, I was involved with that studio, but then I moved to another location, and I was away from it, and I figured, oh well, I guess that's it for yoga, and then lo and behold, I wound up moving back closer to where that studio is, and here I am, teaching again. So yeah, it's interesting. That's why I try, even stuff I don't like even my current job that I talk about. I say, as much as I've tried to quit, even this job I got by accident. I quit the last job and wasn't even sure, and then 2 days later I got a call for this job, and I keep saying, why does God want me to be a contract specialist, for goodness sake? It's a horrible job. Lord, please, why? I know why. Tell me why. Why do you want me to be a contract specialist? It makes no sense. Oh man. So, but seriously, anyway, that's anyway. It's all our own choice. It's all our own life. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make it any more heavier than it needs to be. But just remember that true freedom is in our hearts. True freedom is inside, and we have all the power we need to be our best selves on our own without these structures that be trying to tell us what our lives should be. And you see it's gotten more, and if you're older, obviously you see even more how things have changed over decades, as far as commercialism and all the corporate nonsense and the more and more oversight with government and everything that they do to kind of pigeonhole people into these spaces with the false flag events that they do and everything else, to create fear and then the more oppression, more control, little by little, until eventually, boop, that's it. You got nothing left. So it's up to us to take the control, take our own power back. And if we all do that, if we all just take our own power back and be kind to one another, there doesn't have to be chaos, right? It could be a beautiful rebirth where we all participate and create, it's never going to be like, utopia, just like, laying around by the waterfalls and, the birds are talking to you. I mean, I'm sure, I'm not trying to be over the top. This life is what it is. And there's always going to be a balance of, good and evil energy in a way, because that's the whole purpose of being in this life, right? To recognize those different frequencies and then to make the decisions of how we vibrate with them and which ones we decide to resonate with and express in our day-to-day life. Okay? All right. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time here today. Don't be afraid of freedom. Choose your freedom. Be free. You deserve to be free. I'm free. I'm free. All right, I'm sorry. That was a bad one today. All right. Anyway, I just meant my singing. But that's it. So if please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course those you despise as well. I appreciate your time so much. It's always a pleasure to be here for you. It's always a pleasure to have you here with me. I really do appreciate it. And God bless each and every one of you individually as well as a group. I love you out there. And until tomorrow. Well, I don't know about tomorrow because tomorrow I might be out. Tomorrow might be a beach day. It really depends on the weather. I got some plans to hit the beach tomorrow. But it might rain. So if I'm here, it means it was a bad weather day. If not, I'll be back on Monday. Or maybe I'll come on the weekend. You never know. So I'm here. So just click the notification bell, and I'm coming on most days a week. So you'll find me. Okay, you will find me. And if not, I might have to find you. No, I wouldn't do that because that would be stalking, and I don't want to do that. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for your time. Until next time, have a great one. Operation Status Quo disengaged.